Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlicker, shows, deaths, lights, peasants, vassals, minions, meat sacks. I'm usually welcome. And so, wow, President Trump announced during his meeting with Netanyahu that he's going to push a $1 trillion defense budget in 2026. And frankly, I'm shocked. And the other thing that's interesting, of course, that in usual Trump fashion, um, it kind of seems like he blurts this stuff out because just last February, Defense Secretary Hegseth said there was going to be an 8% cut to defense. And back then, even Trump was saying that we could cut the defense budget in half and still deliver as much military power. And yet here we are in April, and now Trump promises a $1 trillion defense budget, a 12% increase. And of course, as usual, he says, quote, nobody has seen anything like it, unquote. And I just find this so disturbing because once again we have this talk of cutting back and then announcing this huge budget, and it just reveals a complete disregard for all the facts as they gather around. A good example of that is the fact that we have Doge trying to find all these cuts in all these government agencies and cutting the deficit in the United States and being frugal and all the rest. And now we have Trump announcing a $1 trillion budget for defense. And how do you think that affects the deficit? How do you think that affects any gains made by eliminating government agencies or cutting them back? And then on top of that, we have an announcement by Defense Secretary Hegseth talking about the fact that he discovered $5.1 billion of Defense Department contracts that could be canceled, saving $5 billion. And then, of course, with this $1 million defense budget, any savings by Hegseth in cutting back these contracts is immediately absorbed. And the fact is, too, that we have a Defense Department that has failed every audit that's ever been done. And I remember back in 2001 when Secretary of Defense Rumsfeld came out and announced that the Defense Department couldn't account for $2 trillion. And we've seen this happen time and time again where most recently, the Department of Defense was talking about the fact that they have no idea how much money, how many guns were going to Ukraine. They have no way to track it. And so this lack of accountability of the Defense Department is really a huge problem. And to see Trump going in the opposite direction, like I say, is very disturbing for me. And I totally am on board with Hegseth's discovery of a lot of contractors that work for the Defense Department, and they're a huge problem. In this case, almost $6 billion was discovered by Hegseth that could be eliminated from all kinds of contractors doing a lot of consulting. That's a lot of money for consulting, as he pointed out, and it's a lot of times it's very redundant with things that are being done in other parts of the Department of Defense. And so I think if the U.S. and the Trump administration right now is really serious about making the government smaller and more efficient and cutting waste and fraud, at the very heart of it is the Defense Department. And once again, another reason why this announcement of a $1 trillion budget is so disturbing. Before announcing that, it seems like it makes more sense to really dig in to the Pentagon and find out where huge amounts of money, it's one of the biggest expenditures in the United States, and where all these huge expenditures are going and all this money sloshing around. And because there hasn't been any accountability and no audits, the fact is the Pentagon is just the worst offender as far as government efficiency and waste. And also, it's gotten to the point where we only have 5 major arms manufacturers in the United States, and they have a monopoly, and there's no bids, there's no competition. And so they charge whatever they want, and they do. And everyone certainly remembers the stories from years ago of the Pentagon ordering hammers and paying something like $1,000 a piece for hammers and the like. And so, and then the other part of it too is the $1 trillion could get sucked up really easy with some of these insane and insanely expensive weapons procurement programs like the F-35. They've been working on that for decades, and it just keeps continuing to swallow up money, and yet we still don't have a finished product that's ready to go, and continues to have cost overruns. And so, oh my God, Trump, $1 trillion military budget, and I'm almost speechless. Not speechless enough to not do a nearly 6 minute video, but speechless that it really has come to this, and it just seems counterintuitive. And oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm done. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.